carnivores, SB fam, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Bella the Steak and Butter Gal. Drop an update down below in the comments. Let me know how you all are doing on your carnivore journeys. Today's video, all about my favorite carnivore diet recipes. Easy to cook, affordable carnivore meals. In fact, I'm going to open up this video with the most affordable carnivore meals. Now is the time of the year to really just take a moment, breathe, relax, learn more about carnivore diet, delicious recipes. So here's a quick overview of all of the carnivore diet staples that we will be working with in today's recipes. I'm going to list all of the cheapest carnivore diet foods right now on the screen. It's going to include pork belly, ground beef, eggs, butter, chuck steak, and chicken wings. Every single ingredient that I love, best prices, and the highest quality will also be linked down below in the description box. So this first recipe, I really want to feature my mama's famous egg pudding. This is a steamed chicken egg dish, and it is a traditional Chinese recipe that I grew up eating. We're just going to need some eggs and water, but you can also replace the water with milk, broth, chicken stock, anything that you want to add some flavor. I'm going to be using 5 eggs in today's egg pudding, and to know how much liquid to use with your egg pudding, you just crack the amount of eggs in a measuring cup. Let's say the eggs that you use total 1 cup. Then you just double that in the amount that you use for your liquid. If I use 1 cup of eggs, I will use 2 cups of liquid. Since we are steaming this egg pudding, we're going to get a large pot that our bowl fits in and put in about 2 inches of water and get that water to a boil. In the meantime, we're going to mix our egg and liquid mixture. By the way, this dish is perfect for babies, toddlers, anyone who is feeling under the weather. This is such a great dish for. Once the water is to a boil, we're going to carefully put in our egg pudding bowl, close the lid completely, turn the heat down to a low medium, and we're going to steam for about 10 to 14 minutes. I would really keep an eye on the egg pudding because it's going to greatly vary how much time your egg pudding will need to steam completely cooked. With 5 eggs, I usually find 12 minutes is that perfect sweet spot to give me that bouncy, gelatinous, gorgeous, silky, custard-like egg pudding texture. Feel free to drizzle it with delicious melted butter, bacon bits, or ground beef to turn it into a decadent savory dish. And if you want to transform it into a dessert, you can use milk to turn it into a delicious flan. I hope you enjoy this zhengdan recipe. The next egg dish I will teach you how to make is perfect buttery poached eggs. Just get a pot of water to a boil and start cracking your eggs in a bowl. I like to crack it in a bowl so that I can pour it all at the same time, so each of the eggs are poached perfectly. Once the pot of water is to a boil, I just slowly pour in the eggs and I cook on high heat for exactly 4 minutes. I set my timer for 4 minutes, and once it's up, I turn off the heat and I let those poached eggs sit in the hot water for 1 more minute. So 4 minutes cooked on high heat and 1 minute off the heat completely. I add as much butter as I need over the poached eggs. I am fat adapted and I don't have any issues with melted fats anymore, but if you are having loose stools or issues with melted fats, I would eat the butter chilled on this side instead of melting it over these hot poached eggs. This next dish is an easy peasy egg salad made out of boiled eggs and butter. All you have to do is get yourself some boiled eggs, peel them, mash them up, and then add as much butter as you need to into the mashed boiled eggs. Mash it all up, mix it really well. You can make it as chunky or fine as you want and eat it as a side dish, a nice dip, or as a creamy spread. This next dish is carnivore muffins made out of ground beef and eggs. Of course, you can eat it with a side of butter to make it extra high fat. And with all of these recipes, please feel free to season and salt however you'd like. To make these muffins, I just line a cupcake sheet with ground beef. Once I line each of the cupcake molds with ground beef, I just pour in some beat up eggs to fill each ground beef mold. I then bake it for 20 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can do longer if you like it crispier. This is the finished product. It's juicy, it's delicious, perfect for kids as well, and easy to take on the go. This next recipe is called egg drop meatball soup, and we're just going to need ground beef and eggs. We're going to start by sauteing our ground beef and make sure it's nice and crispy, cooked through, and browned. Then we're going to add hot water to the same pan of cooked ground beef. You can alternatively also use some bone broth for extra flavor. Feel free to season and salt however you'd like. And we're going to let the ground beef simmer for a couple minutes. In the meantime, we're going to beat up a couple raw egg yolks. And once we are ready to add in our raw egg flours, we will first turn off the heat. That way, the raw eggs will not overcook. Gently and carefully pour in the raw egg yolk to create those beautiful, delicate egg drop flours in the soup. Here's the finished product of the egg drop soup. Before we get into the recipes, I just wanted to share real quick how many meals per day I personally eat and how I determine how much I should be eating day to day. For me personally, it changes. Some days I will eat 2 meals a day. Other days, all I need is just 1 meal a day. And some days, mostly they are leading up to my period, and throughout my period week, I am eating 3 meals a day. So what am I doing to determine how many meals a day I need? It all depends on my appetite, my hunger cues, what my appetite is telling me. If I feel hungry, I make sure that I feed myself. And I really think that's a big reason why I was able to progress so quickly with my carnivore healing journey. When I first started carnivore, I ate 5 meals a day, and I ate so much all throughout the day, every day, for about 6 months straight. I was ravenous, my hormones were wrecked, I did not have a period when I first started, so there were many reasons that my body really needed to just eat, properly nourish, and recover from my history of a vegan diet. This is exactly why throughout this video, I won't be telling you exactly how much to eat, exactly how much to cook, and exactly how many meals you should be eating per day. I want you to enjoy all of the recipes that I share freely, eat as much as you need, cook as much as you feel like your body will need. And all of these recipes are excellent for batch cooking. What is batch cooking? Batch cooking is basically allotting a day or a big chunk of your day to just really cook a lot of food. And for carnivore diet, if you're busy, if you have a busy job, if you're a busy mama, batch cooking can really keep you on track, and it is a lifesaver. Pack it up, store it in your Tupperware, and have it readily available whenever you are hungry for food. This is an excellent tip as well if you're battling with sugar cravings, munchies, just not being able to stay on track as a new carnivore. These next 2 recipes will include flank short ribs and pork belly strips, and I will cook them both at the same time in the oven. So for the flank short ribs, you can get these at any local butcher shop, but they're often on sale at your local grocery store. I was able to get a bunch for only $7.99 a pound. And with pork belly, you can get it for so much cheaper than bacon by getting it fresh, cut into strips. I've seen it as cheap as $4 at Costco. We're going to bake both of these meats at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And for the flank and short ribs, we're going to cook it for 40 minutes. If you like it crispier, you can do 45 minutes. For the pork belly, we will be cooking it for a total of 50 minutes. So we're going to take out the flank and short ribs first, and then we're going to take out the pork belly about 10 minutes after. Here is the finished product of the flank and short ribs. These are my favorite fatty, delicious finger food type of meal. And the pork belly is so great to pack on the go because it's crispy, nice and cut into strips, and it is again so much cheaper than bacon. It has no seasonings, no questionable ingredients, and you can season and salt the way you like to ensure that it is clean and does not cause any inflammation. This next recipe is chicken soup, and we're going to use chicken party wings to cook it. And the way that I cook it will give you extra collagen and calcium for healthy hair, skin, nails, and bones. We just need an Instant Pot, and we're going to cook the chicken party wings to the point where even the bones are dissolved and edible. This really increases the nutrient density, and we reap the benefits of eating the bones as well. So we're going to pour in the chicken party wings into the Instant Pot and pour just enough water to cover the meat completely. We're going to close the lid and pressure cook on high for 58 minutes. And we're going to let the pressure naturally release after those 58 minutes. This is the finished product of the chicken soup. It is so delicious, flavorful, fatty, and nutritious. You can, of course, season and salt however you prefer. And here's another Instant Pot recipe. We're going to be using oxtail this time. Oxtail is such an incredible meat to use for soup, broth, and stews. And I always use the Instant Pot because it's just so easy, convenient, and mess-free. We're going to throw the oxtail into the Instant Pot and cover the meat with just enough water, and we're going to pressure cook on high for exactly 45 minutes. We're also going to naturally let the pressure release. This is what the finished product looks like. It is so rich in flavor. The soup is fatty and flavorful, and the meat is fall apart, soft and tender. This is also a great soup for when you feel under the weather or just during cold winter days. When it comes to fat, my absolute best tip, if you are new to the carnivore diet, is to not eat any melted, rendered, hot, cooked fats of any sort. Why? Because these types of melted and hot fats tend to trigger loose stools. So especially if you're new to carnivore and you are having loose stools, diarrhea, you can definitely troubleshoot and play around with cutting down the melted fats. So this includes, for example, the recipe that I included with the poached eggs and melted butter. I would not melt that butter over those hot poached eggs. Instead, I would maintain a high-fat approach by eating that butter chilled, frozen, cold. Even room temperature is better. This also includes that golden liquidy fat when you cook or saute ground beef. Do not pour that liquid fat over your meals. Save it in a container in a glass jar as just cooking oil. You don't want to be drinking that because it will also induce nausea, heartburn, heart palpitations. These types of symptoms are just very common when you're new to a carnivore diet lifestyle. If you're struggling with lower energy, muscle cramping, or headaches, these top 3 symptoms can be improved with just salting a little bit more generously on all of your meals. Of course, use a high quality salt if you can, like Redmond's Real Salt. But if that does not do the trick, then leaning on a high quality electrolyte supplement definitely helps. This is the one that I always recommend. The brand is called Element, and this blue teal colored banner box is the flavor that is the best in my opinion because it is the raw, unflavored, no stevia, no flavorings, no extra ingredients. Here's a look at each of their little packets. As you can see, super tiny, nice and easy to take on the go. Throw it in your bag, work bag, travel bag, and you can just rip one open and put it in whatever beverage you usually drink. You all can get a free sample pack with any purchase, and it does include the raw unflavored one if you want to try it first. If you go to the URL shown on the screen, drinklmnt.com/SBGAL, I have also linked them down below in the description box. Now I want to show you my go-to way to cook a perfect crispy steak with a juicy inside. My trick is to just use my trusty Cuisinart air fryer. I know it looks really beat up and old and dirty, but I've had this air fryer for 4 years and it still works like a charm. So the trick to cooking a perfect juicy steak with a great sear is to preheat your air fryer. So you want to preheat your air fryer before you put in the steak. I preheat it to the highest temperature it can possibly go, which is 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And I usually preheat it for a good 5-6 minutes before I pop in the steak. This really gives it that amazing crispy sear while keeping the inside juicy and rare. I cook my steak for a total of 8 minutes for a very rare inside and a very crispy outside. But of course, if you don't like it rare and you prefer it medium rare, then just do it for 10 minutes and so on. Of course, if you want to stick to budget-friendly cuts of steak, I recommend chuck steak as the most budget-friendly cut of meat that is most similar to New York strip and ribeye. And again, I love to eat my steak with a lot of butter, hence my handle, Steak and Butter Gal. Let me know what your favorite cuts of steak are down below in the comments. And this last recipe, I will teach you how to make tuna cakes, also known as tuna patties. These are a bit leaner, so of course you can add butter to it, but the consistency is so delicious, fall apart tender, and it has this gorgeous crispy golden crust because we will be searing it on a pan. For ingredients, we're just going to need a can of tuna. You can also use a can of salmon or whatever canned fish you prefer. We're going to need 1 raw egg white. We will also need 2 tablespoons of chicken breast powder. This one that I'm using is from Carnivore Crisps, but an alternative is pork panko. I will make sure to link both options down below in the description box. Now mix all the ingredients together, and I decided to add a dollop of butter because I will be sauteing it and I wanted it to be nice and juicy and moist. Shape the tuna mix into patty shapes and just fry on high heat 2 minutes per side. Here is the finished product. I spread some delicious butter on top so it's extra fatty, and the inside, as you can see, is very fluffy, moist, and soft. If you've been curious about this carnivore lifestyle or you're new to my YouTube channel and you are ready to start carnivore, I welcome you all to join my carnivore community. It is off social media. It's called the Steak and Butter Gang, and I would love to invite you all for free into my Steak and Butter Gang forum. You will access so many amazing members. You can scroll through the forums and just read, learn, gather more information if you're very curious. Just open up the description box down below and follow the directions, and I will be happy to send that free invite link your way. Now, if you're up for a 30-day carnivore challenge, I do these every single month. I also invite on carnivore doctors and experts every single week to come speak, answer our questions. Dr. Chafee, Dr. Tony Hampton, and Coach Rebecca Heichman are the Steak and Butter Gang's monthly resident experts. We also have the rest of the faces shown on the screen: Dr. Robert Kiltz, Dr. Sabrina Solt, and Dr. Sean O'Mara. So if you want to hop on our incredible live Zoom calls that we do basically every other day, if you want to learn live from these incredible carnivore coaches, carnivore guest speakers, and doctors, you can go ahead and just directly sign up at the link shown on the screen, sbgmeetup.com, or you can of course check out the links in my description box for clickable links. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed all of the delicious recipes, tips and tricks, carnivore hacks to keep it budget friendly yet still delicious that I included in today's video. If you want to find more of me, I am also on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, as well as of course in my community, the Steak and Butter Gang. So all of my socials are also linked down below. I'll see you in my next video. Have an amazing rest of your day. SBG out.